Oh man. So the world. So yeah, I'm gonna talk about McCarthyism 2019 because obviously people are this fucking worthless and stupid that I need to explain what McCarthyism is. I hate my life. I hate my life, and I hate the stupid piece of the crap that exists on this country. Like this is truly a just miserable place to be, unequivocally. But yeah, so back when I was in high school and everything, just reading history and all that other stuff, I came across a piece of historical time period I found truly infuriating. And what was that period of time? The Red Scare, McCarthyism. Like, I remember reading about McCarthyism and the Red Scare in high school and just being angry. Like, at the stupidity of people. Like, just watching those videos, I just remember thinking, like, you idiots. Like, are you so stupid you can't see through this? Like, seriously, like, you dumb pieces of garbage. What is, and I was just mad at people for, like, reading books. Like, this was obviously just a political tactic to attack people who weren't politically aligned with you, and just used as a way, like, they were using the Red Scare. McCarthyism and the Red Scare was used as a way to damage and attack political opponents that would not fall in line with the narrative of those in power. And I just remember thinking how stupid those people were and how worthless they were. And it is so insanely hilarious. It's not hilarious, but I like, to me the honest truth was, it was just like, how could people like that exist? You know what I mean? I was like I was looking around the world, you know what I mean, as a kid in high school, like, yeah, like, there's no way that would happen. And then 2016 happened, and it's just been straight up McCarthyism 2.0 in 2019. 2016, 2019, straight McCarthyism. I've been flabbergasted at the fucking stupidity of people. It's honestly amazing to me how people are so worthless, so mindless, so pathetic, that at the end of the day, they will believe any piece of information that validates their own understanding. They don't want to be held responsible for supporting a worthless, incompetent moron like Hillary Clinton. They don't want to be held responsible for that. First off, Hillary Clinton had double the money of Donald Trump, or near that. Second off, Hillary Clinton was the person that told the media to fucking put Donald Trump on for 24/7, because Hillary Clinton wanted to run against Donald Trump, and she wanted to then affiliate Republicans with Donald Trump himself. So it was called the Pied Piper strategy. It's one of the things that came out with the WikiLeaks emails. Hillary Clinton is the reason Donald Trump got all the airtime he did, or she was one of the supporters of that very reality, which is fucking insane. Like, it is so insane that happened. But that's who Hillary Clinton was. And not only did she have more money than Donald Trump, not only did she direct the media directly to fucking prop up Donald Trump, but she refused to go to Michigan and Wisconsin. And she lost those states. And who did she blame? Bernie Sanders and Russia. Because that's who she is. She's not a leader. She's a person who, at the end of the day, will blame anybody that she can for her own failures and shortcomings. And just like her supporters, who so stupid, and this is what it is. This is the reason McCarthyism 2.0 has taken such hold in 2019. Her supporters don't want to rectify with the fact that they supported a candidate so incredibly incompetent and worthless and petty that she would lose to Donald Trump. They don't want to be held responsible for that. Personal responsibility is a fucking joke to these people. And so the Russian narrative helps them define who they are, how they are, without ever having to take any responsibility. And now they're coming after Tulsi Gabbard. Oh, one more thing. Donald Trump, the orange motherfucker with plastic hair, he had more policy discussion in his ads than Hillary Clinton. Do you understand that? Donald Trump had more policy discussion in his ads than Hillary Clinton. Donald Trump had a more policy aligned campaign than Hillary Clinton, and she blames Russia for her loss. More money than Donald Trump, almost double the money of Donald Trump, and she blames Russia for her loss. It's cowardly, it's pathetic. And now they're coming after Tulsi Gabbard because Tulsi Gabbard supported Bernie Sanders in the primaries. And this is how the Clinton campaign works. This is how this nepotism system of corruption within the corporate media and the corruption of the establishment DNC works. It is tit for tat, favor for favor. And Hillary Clinton and the Clinton establishment was a huge mechanism within the Democratic Party itself. She had a list of enemies, like literally within the Democratic Party. Anybody who didn't support her, anybody who wouldn't toe the line was put on her list of enemies. That's who she is as a person. She's not a good human being. Also, she destroyed Libya, which now sells women and children into slavery. That's what she did. Does CNN talk about it? Does MSNBC talk about it? Nope. Why? Because of the fact that at the end of the day, they're all in the same fucking club. Like George Carlin said, it's a big club, and you ain't in it. And instead of these people caring about our democracy, the only thing these people care about is the cohesion of their club. They don't care about America. They don't care that the pharmaceutical industry is murdering people because they're too poor to afford insulin. They don't care about any of that. They hate Bernie Sanders more than they care about Americans dying from the pharmaceutical industry. Jake Tapper, Erin Burnett, Wolf Blitzer, these people are heartless and evil. I mean, sincerely. They don't care about any of this. There's children still drinking lead water in Flint, Michigan. Does Jake Tapper care? No. Does Wolf Blitzer care? Hell no. Does Erin Burnett care? Hell no. Children have been murdered with U.S. bombs in Yemen. It's a near genocide over in Yemen. People are starving and dying with the support of the United States, and they don't talk about the true level of the United States' role in this situation. Donald Trump, they talk about Venezuela. They were willing to invade Venezuela. They were propping that up. When Donald Trump stopped food aid from going into Venezuela, did they even mention it? Did they even talk about it? No. When it turns out that Donald Trump's tax cut is now costing the United States citizens $1 trillion a year now. So every year, we have to go to other countries to beg for $1 trillion to pay for Donald Trump's taxes. Does CNN talk about that? Does MSNBC talk about it? Do they even mention that? No. But when Bernie Sanders wants to give health care to poor people and women and children, they hate him for it. How are you going to pay for this? How are you going to pay for us? We're not even paying for Donald Trump's taxes, and yet they don't even mention them because of the fact they don't care about America. The only thing they care about is the cohesion of their own system and of their own continued power. And it's so sick and depraved that at the end of the day, America, the world, has 11 years to come to a level of cohesion and togetherness to come together to save our planet and save humanity from extinction, and they don't even bring it up. CNN, MSNBC will talk about tornadoes, they'll talk about hurricanes, they'll have 6 people experiencing a hurricane at any given point in time, but they won't talk about climate change. You know why? Because climate change, if they told the truth about climate change to the American public, the people in power today would not be in power in 5 to 6 to 7 years. And they understand that. But the only thing they care about is their power. That's the entire mentality of Hillary Clinton and her subordinates, is we have power, might makes right. It's the same fucking philosophy of Republicans. The only difference is, I guess, Democrats are cool with gay people and blacks. They don't actually care what happens to blacks and gay people, but they're, okay with them. That's the Democratic Party. That's who Hillary Clinton is. And so they came after Tulsi because Tulsi isn't towing the party line. Tulsi isn't mindlessly, just agreeing with the people on the media. And so what has happened is they decided to attack Tulsi as a Russian asset without any proof, without any evidence, because of the fact this is a use of McCarthyism. This is McCarthyism, inherent McCarthyism. What was McCarthyism used for? It was used to gain a level of support, hatred, and vilification of political enemies by simply saying they are not of they are not of us. They're not of America. So Tulsi Gabbard, who is fighting the military-industrial complex and who had the audacity to not mindlessly support Hillary Clinton's blatant corruption and fucking evil, because Tulsi Gabbard had some level of integrity, they're now calling her a freaking Russian asset. Are you serious? Bacardi Sellers, dude, let me just say, you're a total fucking joke of a human being. Sincerely. Like MLK, and this is what I love. This is what I love about this situation. These people in power have used some of the greatest, most moral people on this entire planet as a passive system of validation and justification for their evil. MLK said, I have a dream that people will be judged by the content of their character and not the color of their skin. But those in power decide, oh, so let's just like not care about content of character, but we're not going to judge you for the color of your skin. That was their fix. So Bacardi Sellers, whose content of character is utter trash, utter garbage. Like, Bacardi Sellers' father was the person who fought against MLK's idea of inclusion, of white people and black people standing together. Bacardi Sellers' father, who was an active member of the civil rights movement, was for black power. Like, literally was one of the most largest proponents of the concept of, like, black power for black people. And yet, it's so fucking funny that Bacardi Sellers is the person who benefits the most from MLK's system of ideals. It's insane. Like, and he talks shit about Bernie Sanders. It's just like, bro, you benefited from MLK's work, his ideals, but yet at the end of the day, you smear people who actually represent his ideals, like Bernie Sanders, who, by the way, is a democratic socialist who has something in common with MLK, which is what? Martin Luther King was also a democratic socialist. Bernie Sanders followed MLK. That's how much Bernie Sanders has cared about the ideas and beliefs of MLK. He adopted them himself. People don't understand how much of Bernie Sanders' philosophy is in direct relation to the very teachings, ideas, and understandings of MLK. But I digress. See, people use MLK, and this is the problem. We're not judging people by the content of their character. Like, Near Tandem, oh my god, she's a horrible human being. She's flat out a horrible human being. There is this idea that at the end of the day, if you have power over other people, that means you are more valid and more justified. If you have more money than another person, that means you are inherently more important. And it's so inherently inherent within the United States mentality and culture that being rich is considered virtuous in and of itself. Now let me repeat that. Being rich in the United States is considered virtuous in and of itself. This is how Donald Trump even had a chance of getting elected, because people think that if you have money, unequivocally you deserve it. It's not the case at all. Donald Trump inherited his money, and he cheated and he stole from people. He has no moral integrity. He has no moral character. These people revel in the idea that most Americans don't have the capacity to actually organize in a way that they have control over anything. And this is what the media's main role is within America, to limit the American public's access to information that can potentially benefit the American populace in a way that could create a real democratic movement. CNN and MSNBC are products of propaganda organization used to limit the mindset of the American public, and it's unequivocally disgusting. But at the end of the day, this is how you get ahead in the world. You find people and you sell the fuck out. People no longer get into government because they want to govern. People get into government because of the fact they realize that if I am in government, I can be one of the people who makes these decisions, and I can be bought off to make a decision for corruption and get a payday. The people go into government for a payday, pretty much. And it's not talked about. I mean, seriously, you want to know how insane this is? We have candidates on the Democratic debate stage who've taken millions of freaking dollars for the pharmaceutical industry and Wall Street, and yet CNN doesn't bring up this ever. They attack Bernie Sanders and anybody else who supports Medicare for all, but they never even question the candidates who have taken millions of dollars from the pharmaceutical industry. Like, is there any potential possibility that the reason you don't want healthcare for every American is because of the fact that the pharmaceutical industry has paid you millions of dollars? CNN has never asked a question like that. Neither has MSNBC. Neither has the Washington Post. You know why? Because they know it's corrupt. But what they are really doing is creating narratives for the American public to latch onto, to get the American public to fight and work against their own interests. And this is what the whole smear against Tulsi Gabbard is. They don't like her, because Tulsi Gabbard is independent. So at the end of the day, to ensure that their system of cohesion corruption or corrupted cohesion continues to work, meaning I scratch your back, you scratch mine. If you don't scratch my back, well, I'm going to destroy you and call you a Russian asset, is sustained is by attacking anybody who is not willing to fall in line. That's why they hate Bernie Sanders so much, because of the fact, if you are in if you're in a room with 100 corrupt people and you're the one person who isn't corrupt, you're not a leader, you're a target. Okay? So that's what Bernie Sanders has been for so long. And that's why they hate Bernie Sanders, because Bernie Sanders doesn't play their game. Bernie Sanders actually has moral integrity. He has content of character. The only thing they have is the illusion of character given to them by the system and the establishment that they fucking serve. At the end of the day, they have no moral system of integrity whatsoever. Jake Tapper, Wolf Blitzer, Erin Burnett, don't fucking get me fucking started. They're a joke. An unequivocal joke. And so what has, and simply this, and I'll simply end on this. McCarthyism in 2019 has been one thing above everything and all things. It has been a use of a justification and validation to get people to feel accepting and hating other people by not ever having to understand what they have done personally. Meaning that there's a whole bunch. Hillary Clinton lost to Donald Trump. That was an insane loss. Nobody saw that coming. And generally, when somebody is this wrong, there's a point of self-reflection. People question why they did what they did. Baby, Bernie Sanders was the better candidate. He was the better candidate. If you're too stupid to understand it, then you're just too fucking stupid to understand it. It's not my problem. But Bernie Sanders was the better candidate. But after Hillary Clinton lost, people could have been self-reflective. People could start questioning, like, maybe centrism isn't a great idea. Maybe I shouldn't just mindlessly follow what people tell me. But instead of that, instead of having that time for self-reflection, the media establishment and the Hillary Clinton campaign decided we need somebody to blame. You want to know why? Because as long as you have somebody to blame, you don't have to blame yourself. You don't ever have to look in the mirror. So people just started to look at Russia, like Russia. I've seen Russians everywhere. The Mueller report, no Russian interference. Donald Trump's too incompetent to hide that. That's honestly true. That's like, if he did it, you know what I mean? Like, he's an idiot. Like, we would have found something. But they didn't care about that because they found a validation of self. They were like, okay, Hillary Clinton was perfectly great and everything about her was wonderful. There was no legitimate criticism about her whatsoever. Russia did this, so I don't have to look at myself. I don't have to blame myself. And it's a psychological trick that's been used all throughout time. And now it's being used on Tulsi Gabbard. But the major functional point is they don't want people to reflect upon themselves, their actions, and their decisions. And because of this, we're just in a worse place. I mean, these people have made America a vastly worse country. These people have degraded the democracy of America. Jake Tapper, these people like Wolf Blitzer, Bacardi Sellers, like freaking Near Tandon. They have destroyed, they've degraded the very integrity of America itself because of the fact they lack the internal integrity to stand for what's right, to stand for morality, to stand for decency. And so we're now in a position where the Russian Red Scare bullshit of 2019 is just in full effect because these people have no integrity and they don't care about this country. The only thing they care about is maintaining and sustaining their own power and their own position. And it's a hard thing to watch, honestly. I mean, you have David Brock, the dude who slut-shamed a person who actually came out against Clarence Thomas. This dude slut-shamed on a national level someone who had a rape allegations or a sexual assault allegation against Clarence Thomas, and he is one of Hillary Clinton's biggest, most confidants. Bill Clinton rode on Jeffrey Epstein's plane 24 times. And you want to tell me Hillary Clinton is some moral bastion of anything? Are you people that delusional and stupid? Because I care about women and children regardless if I like them politically or not. It seems that the people who blindly and mindlessly support Hillary Clinton and the corruption of the DNC don't actually care about women and children objectively. They only care about women and children when the person hurting women and children or minorities is a Republican and not a Democrat who you personally identify with. And that is why our country needs serious systemic change. We need to come together as a country, and we need to give the American people the power to have a say in their own country. Freedom and liberty and all. A more perfect union. All of that is about that people have a right to have a say in their own life. People have a right to change and to grow. People have a right to have a say of what happens in our own damn country, in this country, in America. And the sad truth is you have a lot of people who would rather only have the power be based off of money because they have money and they benefit from it, and they benefit from the connections to the Hillary Clintons, to the CNNs, to the Jeff Bezoses. They like those connections because it makes them feel special. So as long as they have power and the normal average American doesn't have power, they will continue to support this system as it is. And that is the thing that will decide whether or not humanity is worthy of salvation or not. Because at the end of the day, we got 11 years to save this world. If these people remain in power, I don't think we're going to have the time or ability to actually come together in the ways we need to. So this is why this Russia bullshit is bullshit. But I believe in paper ballots. So, I mean, if we get paper ballots, fuck it, Russia. Deuces.